high immigration is good for Britain, would you raise your hand if you are in favour of that? So clearly, we have a lot of people in favour of immigration in the room, and we have a few who are not, who don't think high immigration is good for Britain.
In this explosive debate, Professor Matt Goodwin rips apart the same tired, woke arguments that have allowed Britain's immigration chaos to spiral for decades.
That is exactly the attitude that led to the cover-up of the rape gang scandal for 30 years.
While the audience claps for open borders, Goodwin drops cold, uncomfortable facts about grooming gangs, mass migration, and why the political class keeps gaslighting the public.
That's why I'd quietly suggest questions like, aren't you worried about your arguments being used by these people? I want to flip that.
It's the particular arguments you're using.
Sorry, I know what you're saying.
You're saying
Sarah,
certain nationality are racist.
He's up against a so-called progressive who'd rather twist the truth than protect real British communities exactly the same type, who'd rather victims stay silent for the sake of diversity.
By positioning this story about migrants as rapists, we are actually making women and girls and children less safe.
These people are detached from reality, but you don't have to be. Watch till the end, hit like, share this video before Labour buries it, and subscribe to keep the truth alive.
And I wonder, Matt, if you sometimes worry about the effects of your argument, because you can feel it in the room.
Okay, so can I take that point head on?
Please do.
The views that, let's say when Jonathan said, I support an open liberal migration policy, let's say something equivalent to a continuation of the status quo, that's a 10 to 15% position in this country if you look at the national polling. The vast majority of people in this country want to dramatically reduce immigration. I would even go so far as to suggest that this, I would go, indeed. Indeed. They're so desperate for change, they want to head over there. But the vast majority of people...
You're going home in a minute.
...want to lower migration considerably, and the polling this week suggests 85% would like it to be less than 100,000, roughly where it was when Tony Blair came to power in 1997. It was around 50,000. That's basically where the vast majority of people out there are. That's why Reform are winning the elections. That's why they're number one in the polls. That's why I would quietly suggest...
answer to my question.
It's coming back to that. That's why I'd quietly suggest questions like, aren't you worried about your arguments being used by these people? I want to flip that.
It's the particular arguments you're using.
Sorry, I know what you're saying.
You're saying
Sarah,
certain nationality are racist, are rapists, or...
No, I have not said certain nationalities are rapists.
You have.
I have said, if I could...
have.
Well, okay.
This is why nobody trusts the expert class.
Can I just repeat to you exactly what I said?
Oh, God. Oh, God. Do we have to hear it again?
Please do. Please do. They mean yes.
What I said, I was very clear with my language. Eritreans and Afghans are 20 times more likely to be convicted of sexual assault and rape in this country. Now, I'm sorry if you find that uncomfortable, but that is based on British nationals. That is based on freedom of information requests from police authorities. I'm sorry if you struggle with that.
So I want to ask
that is the evidence.
Okay, so let's take that.
To answer Sarah's question, which I'm being prevented from answering, I'm not the radical extreme person in this room. The extreme people are those who have been imposing mass uncontrolled immigration on this country.
Now let me go to Zoe on this and then I will come to the question. Zoe, there is a stat, and I'm going to trust your stats.
Oh, I have no idea.
And if you trust a stat, and you know, we can put it through Verify, we can do whatever.
Listen, it sounds
Can
terrifying.
we not say it? Is there a problem with saying it?
I mean, who's silencing you? Who's imposing this on you? Once again, I'm being accused of pulling all sorts of strings that I promise you I have no access to. We're being told this by people who have a hell of a lot more power in society than I do. On that stat, I do take a lot of umbrage with Matt positioning himself as a defender of women, British women. Rape Crisis England and Wales has some myth-busting stats up on their website, and the one that strikes me every time is that 6 out of 7 rapes that take place in this country take place within the household and are perpetrated by somebody you know, probably somebody in your family. It's not something that I think is worth scoring cheap political points about, but I do worry that by positioning this story about migrants as rapists, we are actually making women and girls and children less safe by giving politicians a scapegoat to blame when really we need to address a very deep and dark and dangerous part of our society, which is sexual violence against women and how it really happens and what really goes with it.
I just want to say one very quick thing. I'm going to say one very quick thing.
I bet you are.
The argument that talking about those statistics and evidence is scapegoating and is, let's say, xenophobic and provocative, that is exactly the attitude that led to the cover-up of the rape gang scandal for 30 years. That's why we ended up in that problem.
If you believe the truth shouldn't be buried, hit like, share this video now, and subscribe to the channel. Let's keep this debate alive while they try to silence you.